Hi, and thank you for visiting my channel. For more information, kindly subscribe and follow. Now let's get started. A former WWE champion recently shared a social media post asking Rhea Ripley to get off her. The star shared the ring with the former Judgment Day member during a recent show. On December 28th, the Eradicator teamed up with the women's tag team champions Bianca Belair and Naomi to face Pure Fusion Collective in a 6-woman tag team match at a live event on the WWE Holiday Tour. Ripley ended the contest by flattening Sonya Deville with the Riptide to score the win for her team. Earlier today, Sonya Deville took to her X/Twitter account to reshare a video of Ripley pinning her to end the match at Kia Center in Orlando, Florida. The former WWE Women's Tag Team Champion angrily asked the Eradicator to get off her. Wrestling veteran makes huge claim about WWE superstar Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley has been one of the NXT call-ups who continue to dominate after joining the main roster. Legendary wrestling journalist Bill Apter recently made a bold claim about the Aussie. During a recent edition of Sportskeeda's The Wrestling Time Machine, the NWA Hall of Famer stated that the former women's world champion redefined women's wrestling in WWE. Although Apter mentioned Nia Jax and Liv Morgan as other top performers, he pointed out that the Eradicator took it up a notch and became a household name this year. To me, Rhea Ripley changed the tide, the Riptide there. Rhea Ripley redefined the female end of WWE, and I would say there are a lot of other women in there that, did incredible, including Teddy's pick, Nia Jax. Liv Morgan is also way up there, and so many of them. Rhea is, people expect to see her. She became a household face in the pro wrestling business in 2024, he said. From 8:55 onwards, Rhea Ripley will challenge Liv Morgan for the Women's World Championship in a last woman standing match on Raw's Netflix premiere. Having successfully defended the title against Rhea at SummerSlam and Bad Blood, the Judgment Day member would look to extend her championship reign beyond January 6th. In the chaotic world of WWE, rivalries spark with the intensity of a lightning storm. On an electrifying Monday Night Raw, tensions reached a boiling point as Rhea Ripley, the Eradicator, found herself face-to-face with a former WWE champion in a confrontation that had fans buzzing long after the cameras stopped rolling. The show was midway through its runtime when Rhea Ripley, the dominant women's world champion, made her entrance. Dressed in her signature all-black gear, Ripley carried an aura of menace and authority as she strutted down the ramp, flanked by her Judgment Day allies. The faction had been ruling the roost on Raw, their dominance unquestioned for weeks. However, as Ripley reached the ring to address the WWE Universe, the unexpected happened. The crowd erupted as the theme music of a former WWE champion hit the arena. The familiar chords of Burn It Down echoed through the speakers, signaling the arrival of Seth freaking Rollins. The Visionary, clad in a sequin jacket that sparkled under the arena lights, strode out with purpose, microphone in hand. The fans were in for a confrontation they never saw coming. Rollins didn't waste any time. Rhea Ripley, he began, his voice cutting through the arena like a knife. Week after week, you've been sticking your nose where it doesn't belong. You're out here trying to play enforcer, trying to impose your will on anyone who crosses the Judgment Day. But last week, you crossed the line. Ripley smirked, her confidence unshaken. Oh, really, Seth? Enlighten me. What line did I cross? Was it the part where I made your precious little Becky Lynch tap out in the middle of this ring? Or was it the part where I left her lying in a heap backstage? The mention of Becky Lynch drew a collective gasp from the audience. Ripley's actions the previous week had sparked outrage among fans, but Rollins' anger seemed deeply personal. You don't touch my family, Rhea, Rollins said, his tone dropping to a dangerous low. And you definitely don't do it to prove a point. Ripley stepped closer, her grin widening. Oh, Seth, I didn't do it to prove a point. I did it because I could. And if you've got a problem with that, maybe you should take it up with, oh wait, you can't. Because you're too busy playing dress-up and prancing around like you're the king of this circus. The tension reached its peak when Rollins, visibly agitated, pointed at Ripley and shouted, "You want to prove how tough you are? Fine. But stay the hell off Becky. She doesn't need to be your punching bag, and she sure as hell doesn't need you making her a target for your games." Ripley's eyes narrowed, the smirk replaced by a cold glare. She raised her microphone slowly, her voice dripping with venom. "Get off her? Is that your big demand, Seth? You think you can just walk out here, point your finger at me, and I'll fall in line? Let me tell you something, no one, not even you, tells me what to do." The crowd roared as the standoff escalated. Rollins, never one to back down, stepped closer until he was inches away from Ripley. "I'm not asking, Rhea. I'm telling you. You leave Becky out of this, or so help me, you'll find out why they call me the architect." Ripley tilted her head, a mocking expression crossing her face. "The architect? Seth, you might be the architect of your little fairy tale, but I'm the one who tears it down brick by brick. You don't scare me. Your threats don't intimidate me. In fact," she paused, her lips curling into a devilish smile, "I dare you to do something about it." The crowd erupted in a mix of cheers and gasps as Ripley dropped the microphone and spread her arms wide, daring Rollins to make a move. Rollins hesitated for a moment, the weight of the situation hanging heavy in the air. "You really want this, Rhea?" he asked, his voice steady. "Because once I start, there's no going back." Ripley shrugged, her defiance unshaken. "Bring it." Before Rollins could respond, the rest of the Judgment Day stormed the ring. Finn Balor, Damian Priest, and Dominic Mysterio surrounded Rollins like a pack of wolves, ready to pounce. The odds were stacked against the Visionary, but he stood his ground. The arena exploded with cheers as backup arrived in the form of Becky Lynch. The man sprinted down the ramp, steel chair in hand, and slid into the ring. Her presence evened the odds, and chaos erupted as fists flew and bodies collided. Ripley found herself face-to-face with Lynch, the two women exchanging brutal blows. Meanwhile, Rollins took on Priest and Balor, his agility and resilience on full display. Dominic, ever the opportunist, tried to blindside Lynch, but she was ready, sending him sprawling with a thunderous chair shot. The brawl raged for several minutes, the crowd on their feet as the action spilled out of the ring. In the end, it was Ripley who stood tall, delivering a devastating riptide to Lynch on the announcer's table. Rollins, distracted by Priest and Balor, could only watch in horror as Ripley mocked him from the top of the ramp. Grabbing a microphone, Ripley issued her final words for the night. "You wanted me to get off her, Seth? Consider it done. But next time, you might not like what happens when I decide to get back on."